We are looking at how we can make the current food system more sustainable. So looking at diversifying the farming landscapes. As you currently know, the current systems is focused on monoculture. Our project is looking at how we can ensure there is diversity in the species that we are growing, but also in the diversity of our farms. Apart from that, we are also looking at how we can sustainably diversify our diets. We have over 400,000 species that can be consumed, but we are only using 7,000 species. And out of that, only 12 plant species and 5 animal species are used in the majority. However, we can use the remainder of this number. And lastly, but not least, is looking at genetic diversity. So do we need to go back to the basics of the wild relatives of our plants and include them in the food systems? Around the globe, we have so many indigenous plant species. However, there is little knowledge on the nutrition side of these indigenous species. So our plan is to basically go back and analyze the nutritious bit of these indigenous species and how we can ensure that they're included in our diets, and to engage with various local communities on how they perceive these indigenous and local species and how best they can be able to prepare them for their diets. Because currently there is less that is known on how they can best be prepared to make them delicious diets. This is contributing to a more sustainable world because we are now able to use multiple species for consumption. So instead of relying on one or a few species, we are able to look at other species. For example, in Malawi currently, there is a big El Nino where they have loads of droughts, but some of the indigenous species are resistant to these droughts, and local communities are being encouraged to use those species as a way of nourishment, but also for future use. Some of the recent innovations that are key in sustainability are agroecology and agroforestry, where you are having multiple species in a single field. So growing together plants, trees, and raising of livestock. So if you have this particular system, you are ensuring that there is biodiversity in terms of insects. So you have more pollinators, you have more beneficial insects like predators that feed on other pests. So you are reducing the need for pesticides. And if you have legumes in the system, you are reducing the need for fertilizers. So this is more sustainable to the environment, but also to the community. We measure the success of the sustainability efforts by looking at the number of people diversifying their diets, reporting the benefits of consuming multiple species, and then looking at the reduction in the need of pesticides and fertilizers. So this is then bringing in more biodiversity. So comparing monoculture systems and more biodiverse systems, and looking at the insects, for example, which are in these two systems. With this particular project, we have been able to make various partnerships with various individuals and different countries. So we have partners in India, in Kenya, in Malawi, in America, where we are working on how we can amplify the usage of indigenous species for sustainable diets. And apart from that, we have been involved in working with transdisciplinary researchers looking at ecology, anthropology, and social sciences. And this brings in inclusivity and engaged research, which we believe is something that we need for a sustainable future.